and welcome to Artistically Married, where art and opportunity collide. We're your hosts, Jake Ackerman
and Brianne Steinberg. And today I have my beautiful friend, Lorna Lane. She's joining us. Yeah, we've been friends for, oh my gosh, it's been like 20 years now. Yeah. How old's your daughter?
No, she's 19, so about
15?
Yeah, 15
amazing. Yeah, so Lorna was part of our Infinite Motion community. I taught Piper for a couple years. We are having her on the podcast today to really talk about ownership in terms of business and going from a teaching career, which she was an affluent teacher for many years, and then decided to make the transition into ownership, which I'm so excited to talk about today.
And I'm sure we could talk about some traveling as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. I know. I live vicariously through you. I just watch your Instagram, Facebook. I'm like, I'm just going to live vicariously through Lorna. Living my dream life. So why don't you just give us a little brief introduction specifically about your teaching career and kind of how your transition came about.
I've had a lot of different career paths, ironically. I initially started out in publishing.
Okay.
And then from publishing, I ended up getting hired at the Sports Network to do some of their in-house publications. But shortly after I got hired, that component of the job, the budget got axed. But I worked there for 3 years. I still kept, they had other things that I could work on for them, including like their sports radio department and some of their scheduling. But then I was starting to feel stagnant and there wasn't going to be much movement, I could tell. So then I made the decision. I'd always wanted to be a teacher, but when I came into it, was when it was that big stagnant period where people were sitting on the list for 10 years waiting to get a job and supply teaching and doing 2 or 3 other jobs at the same time. And I did not want that. But I went back at a great time. And TSM, I have to say, was fantastic with me. They let me cut my hours into 4 10-hour days. And then I would go to school full-time Friday and Saturday in Canisius and Buffalo.
Oh, wow.
So I managed to complete my degree. So I did that for 3 years. And then I was a teacher for 23 years.
Wow.
Loved it. I do miss it. And I taught mostly the junior grades, although for a couple of years I was teaching my dream gig. I was teaching visual arts, phys ed, and library, which was like my jam.
Gosh, yeah.
So that was awesome. And then I fell into travel kind of by accident. I was about 7 years out of potential retirement, and I was thinking, I can't retire and stay at home because my husband will murder me and I can't sit still. So I started thinking like, what do I love to do? What can I do as a side career? And ironically, in the same time, I had messaged a high school friend who was a travel agent because we were planning a trip. And normally I always plan my own trips, but we were looking and it just felt like we were looking at the same stuff over. And I'm like, what makes this property different than this property? They all look the same.
Right. Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I'm just going to call him and asked him to book our trip. So I did. And while we were on the phone, I said, man, I'd love to have your job. And he's like, why don't you?
It.
So I was like, really? And I'm like, what do I got to do? And he said, you need to get your TICO, which is your Travel Industry Council of Ontario license. You have to have it in order to sell travel in the province of Ontario. So he's like, get your TICO and we'll talk. So it just happened to be summer vacation and I didn't have anything going on. So I got my TICO and I think it was about 2 weeks. And I called him and I said, okay, I got my TICO, now what? And he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, it took me months to get mine. He's like, you're hired. And then that was that. It just kind of spun out from there. And then I started slowly, but by 6 months in, it was 2 full-time jobs. So it was getting to be really crazy. And then my father-in-law unexpectedly passed away. And my husband said, life is too short. You're burning yourself out. You're killing yourself working 2 jobs for what? He's like, pick one. And he's like, I say you quit travel and quit teaching and do travel full time. And I just happen to be in that sweet spot where if you're in your 50th year of birth, you can pull the trigger and commute your pension only in that year.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. So I literally walked in right before Christmas break and gave my 2 weeks notice.
Oh my God.
And then cried for 2 weeks thinking, what have I done?
Yeah.
And then I haven't looked back. So
yeah, it's amazing. I have so many questions. So wait, you're working for TSN?
I used to work for TSN, yes.
Come on. That's so crazy. Do you think, I was just thinking about like kind of that as like an early roots career. I think it's just so cool to like work on a team like that and like publishing.
Yeah. Well, the publishing I ended up, I didn't tell you that either. Well, in high school, I was part of 3 people that we entered I don't know if you remember Sassy magazine. That might date me a little bit.
No.
But it was like it was the cool, well, I thought it was the cool teen magazine because all the others were talking about, fashion and how to catch a boy. And then Sassy was like the real deal. Like it was like its title, Sassy.
Right.
So they had a reader produced issue every year. And so myself and 2 of my friends who we all we were creative and liked writing and, loved music and things. So we entered and we ended up winning and we went to New York City for a month to put out a reader produced issue.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So then from then I ended up in publishing school but my first publishing job was horrible. I was putting out phone book sized computer catalogs. So I went from like a magazine in New York City
so flashy,
to a cubicle
fun.
putting out phone book sized computer manuals, and I hated it.
Yeah.
So I just kind of transitioned into TSN and
Wow, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Your kids are like sports nuts. They must love that story.
Oh yeah. I think Piper's looking into going into like media and things like that. So
fun.
She might, who knows, she might follow that path. We'll see.
It's interesting to see. I think like we talk about this a lot on the podcast of like the transition of going from publishing when we were in our, teen years to like now how it's so heavily online and
digital,
it's so social and so digital. Yeah. So it's interesting when kids are, exploring that as like a job where it's so foreign to us, right? It's like, where's the paper? Like I need to hold something in my hand.
And I'm still old school. Like I'm not a dinosaur. I've moved into the digital
you have
age.
To with your job.
I'm the travel agent who has all her docs on her phone, but also paper copies just in case.
Oh yeah, amazing. So then I think getting into teaching, I think you just like I'm also a teacher, but of dance, but I think you just like navigate so many different relationships in that.
Absolutely.
Can you just talk a little bit about your teaching career in terms of how you were developing like those interpersonals that took you into what is now your ownership position?
Yeah, I think teaching is all about communication. You have to meet people on their level. You have to meet people who are coming from different walks of life, people who are having struggles that you know nothing about. Sometimes it's like all about the art of negotiation, trying to get them to do their work when they don't necessarily want to, and they're negotiating back with you. But it's also learning to communicate also with colleagues and your administration, and then you got the parent component in there too. So it's like you have to be able to communicate effectively, and it's really important. And that's just naturally transitioned into my travel career because I have to be clear and concise. Yeah, otherwise someone might end up in a country that they didn't expect they were going to.
And I think it's a lot of negotiating like an emotional level, right? Like people are so emotionally attached to to their traveling experience. And I think it's the same way when it's talking about education. Like I think those are like people's 2 most big bucket experiences that they do get emotionally attached to, especially parents with kids. Yeah.
And this year's been a tough one in travel because we had a Air Canada strike, which impacted people's travel plans. And then Air Transat followed suit.
I was just thinking about that. There's been a bunch of weird stuff going on in airports too, like just like closed down for no reason.
TSA things in the States, Well, so we had Air Canada, Air Transat on strike. Then we had the hurricane in Jamaica. Then we had the closure of Cuba. And then we had the cartel issues
in Mexico.
Oh my and now we're currently having the jet fuel issues with the war. So it's been a lot to navigate and pivot from. Nothing like COVID, though. I wasn't a travel agent during COVID. The travel agents during COVID, a lot of them didn't return to the industry because it was so devastating. They had so many trips booked on the books, and then they had to cancel them all, and then you don't get paid. Right. They didn't travel, so you didn't get paid. Right. So it's some people just couldn't maintain it.
Yeah, just the negotiations during all of that is so hard. Is there parts of teaching that you do miss?
Oh, yeah.
Still?
Absolutely. I miss the kids 100%. And I miss my colleagues. I love working from home because I have a lot of flexibility. I can set my own hours if I want to, but it can be lonely too. So it's kind of very isolating. I'm not in a storefront where people might randomly pop in. I'm me in my house.
You're like, somebody text me.
Or I'm sitting listening to horrible on hold music by myself.
Oh, right. Totally. Yeah, and that's exactly where I was thinking, is just that, you do have those relationships that you go and you kind of build, you have your relationship with your students, and that kind of gives you that excitement of like storytelling.
Yep.
And then you have your colleagues or your other teachers and a faculty. I think that like it's really hard to go from that.
But I will say though, the travel agent community is super supportive. Like,
I was
that's
just
the
gonna
one
say
thing
that. Do you have like colleagues like that?
Oh yeah. Like, so I'm now branching out into my own business, but I was with a team and we were always supporting each other.
Yeah.
And even the conference that I was just at, it's all different travel agents from all across Canada, and we're all networking and sharing ideas. And if you need anything, let me know. Or if I do, solely cruises. If you need cruise help, I'm willing to help you. Give me a call anytime. Cool. So it's really great. We don't look at each other as competition. We look at, there's enough business out there for all of us. How can we support each other?
That's amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
And I think I think too, as we get older, it's nice when you have like a specialized socialization. Like we find that with the podcast. And even when I'm like working with my mastermind company, like when you do get into ownership, the relationships that you build in terms of your colleagues get so much more specific and more like your genre. It's like you're talking about things that you want to talk about, where I think sometimes it gets heavy when you're in like a staff situation where you're like, oh my God, I don't want to hear about your kid's chicken pox again. Like, it can get like that. It can get where like the communication that happens in a staff room is just, it's like talking about the weather.
Yeah.
Or the news, right? You're just like, I don't want to have these like small talk conversations. Or I really love now that I'm in like a mastermind company, like every time I get on a call, I know it's going to be about ownership of a dance studio. So I think it gets really nice when it's like it's specialized in your field.
Absolutely.
And it really is like that, especially when you are in ownership situation or it's your own business. So that's so exciting. Tell us about branching off on your own.
Yeah, I started this with the idea, like, I do like working with a team. Like I all my sports that I played, I was always on a team.
Right.
But it's just eventually you just kind of evolve, and I just felt like it was, I thought about it for a long time, and I was going back and forth, and then my husband finally kind of gave me the kick in the butt that I needed, and some friends as well, and they're like, why not? Why not? And then and they said, like, if it doesn't work out, I'm sure they'd take you back. Yeah. And so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Great answer.
So I was like, but then, like I said, I started travel on the side, and I left a career in teaching after 23 years, which was not by any of the stretch of imagination easy to do. I mean, that's a sure deal, a sure gig, pension, benefits, a huge part of my identity as a person. And so to just jump off the cliff and put it behind me was terrifying.
Yeah.
This is less so because I'm still in the same industry,
right? But more so because now I don't have a team. I do have lots of, friends in my former team. Like, we'll all help each other, but it's kind of not the same. I'm on my own. Yeah. I think it's the same reasons why it's beneficial, because you aren't, dealing with sharing ideas or having to be like a governed body. You don't have anyone that's on top of you kind of calling the shots. But that's the same reason why it's so scary, right? Yes. That's the same reason why, you don't have anyone to call if you need help, or you don't have someone to like kind of lean on.
Actually, I am fortunate because we have our host agency, the Travel Agent Next Door. They're phenomenal.
Amazing.
So we get to call in if we have issues. So whereas before I was considered an associate, I would call my primary agent for assistance.
Okay.
Now I'm a primary, so I can call the head office for assistance as needed. So that's kind of nice.
Maybe it's even better.
Yeah.
And I also was thinking, it sounds like your husband is a great sounding board.
You know what? He is like the calm and rational to my full-on crazy chaos.
Yeah.
He really is. Like, but he's also been super supportive. Like,
exactly.
I would not.
That's what I mean. Yeah. It sounds like he's like supportive of what's best for you, which is awesome.
100%. And he never holds me back. He's my biggest cheerleader. And honestly, I couldn't have done any of this without his support. Honestly, I really couldn't. I mean, I'm away a lot, and he never ever he's the one pushing me out the door. Like I'm the one calling him from the road. I'm homesick, even though I'm in a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But he's always like, no, go, like take the opportunities, take those chances. So
yeah, he's also a business owner, correct?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that really comes into play too. Where like we talk about this all the time on the podcast, where like you see someone else successful in like an ownership in those type of opportunities, and it really is like motivating to yourself.
Yeah.
Right. When you stand by a partner that's like also in, you know, in business, you're like, oh, okay, like I got this sense of confidence.
Yeah, well,
right?
and he's just like, you don't know, with no risk there's no reward, right?
Yeah.
So
I know, I'm learning that, you know, slowly but surely too. I think it's wild because we went to school, and during the time that we were like, let's say grade school, high school, it was like definitely this undertone, go to school, get a good job, right?
Absolutely. It was a non-negotiable in my family. You are going to post-secondary, because it was also because my parents didn't.
Okay.
And they saw it as a stepping stone to better success, better job, better life, right? So it was like a non-negotiable, you're going.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a degree no matter what.
Yeah,
so,
same.
But I'm grateful for that too, because if they had been more lax, I don't know if I would have.
yeah, exactly. I know. But I think it is a big change now. And I think we're seeing this with the introduction of AI and seeing kind of these digital accessibilities coming in. I think it is becoming, well, maybe you can answer this if you feel that way, but I feel like the education, again, I agree. Like, I don't knock my education. I'm glad I did it in retrospect, but I also feel like going forward that it's going into a different world where like you need to be able to create your own opportunities.
Yeah, the world is rapidly evolving, and we've got to try to keep up, or I don't think we'll ever get ahead of it, but I think we've got to at least try to keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like would you recommend someone now to go to school and get a good job?
I think it would depend on what they were doing, honestly.
Yeah.
I really do think, like, my stepson is an electrical apprentice, and he will always have work. He will his trade will always be needed. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to be able to AI that. You need boots on the ground for that.
Yeah.
I know we talked earlier and you said about teaching, but I still think the human component, the social component of teaching.
Yeah.
Sure, you can have some classes online, things like that, but I really think the social component of teaching is what holds the fabric of society together.
Yeah,
because sometimes these kids are not getting that at home. And if they're all sitting at home in their own separate computers, how are they ever learning to communicate, have empathy, all of those things? So I still think their teaching will not fully. I think it might evolve or pivot a little bit, but I still don't think that job per se will disappear. And things like nursing. So one of my kids is going into nursing.
Amazing.
And I think, that's a job that's never going to go away. A robot's not going to take care of a person that's sick in bed, right? So yeah, I think it depends.
It's wild to be thinking about. I guess you do. You really need to think about like every trade individually and be thinking like, okay, could a computer, take this over? Yeah. And I think it is interesting because, we're both like, I'm doing like the business end of a dance studio, but I think it's really interesting to still see like how they're introducing AI and really what it does. Because everyone keeps saying like AI is going to do everything, but you're right. There's still some mechanical things that like I think we're still so far out from giving it autonomy.
Well, and even in the travel industry, I'll have somebody come to me with an itinerary that's been built by AI, but they still want the human touch. But the other thing is too, is I sometimes look at these itineraries and it doesn't have a human component to it. They're overly ambitious. Yeah. Sometimes they're not relevant. And it's not pieced together sometimes in the most sensical fashion.
Right.
And on top of it all, okay, so fine, you've got your little AI piece of paper that tells you where you're going and what you're doing. Well, then what happens when something goes wrong?
The bus doesn't come. The
AI person is not, like, the chatbot is not coming to your rescue.
Right.
So I think the human component still is very much an important part of the business.
Totally. Yeah. And you hear people say that all the time, right? They're like, oh, I was on the phone. I was like trying to get service and I was like going crazy. We're going to get into more of like the business side of the travel agency. But yeah, I think it's, I agree. I think we are so desperate now. We talk about it a lot with like all the marketing and promotion is that people are like desperate for human interaction. They're like, please give me something that's not a robot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Although the chat bots. Oh.
Yeah.
You type the same request 57 times and you keep getting the same answer.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, well, that's why they say like, I think we're going to see a lot more in terms of like education around prompting.
Yeah.
right? Because that's the problem, is that we're just trying to scream at it, but we're not giving it the right like information, or we're not giving it the right prompting. So I think that'll just be like a big component or a part of our education. We'll be learning how to like work with the AI to like,
and there's again, that's a communication piece.
100%,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you need a good knowledge of the English language and what
and be able to get your point across effectively.
You brought a good point in terms of communication, but I also think like it's and I would love for you to kind of weigh in on this, but how important is like the networking part of your business?
Oh, huge. So the conference we were just at, it wasn't just travel agents, it was supplier partners.
Okay.
So it would be like cruise lines, resorts, airlines, insurance providers, all those different expedition providers. And so we get a chance to face talk to them, learn their product, make that networking, so that if I ever needed something, or I have a question, or anything, when you have that relationship, it makes my job so much easier, and it makes me look like a rock star to my client when I can deliver something that, I didn't think I could deliver.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I think we kind of had that. We took the trip to Mexico, and we got there was a bowl of fruit in the room, and that was great. We ate the fruit, and then we called the front desk. We're like, oh, could we get more of the fruit in the room? They're like, we don't do that. And we're like, how did the fruit get
here? It was me. Yeah, and I think the networking part too is it's like you said, it just like gives you all the tools, right? You're like, I got a guy for that.
Yeah.
And it makes things happen so much faster too. Like I'm finding with my business, like the fact that I have someone to call, it's not me doing all the legwork of everything. It's more tapping into other people's genius. So I think that's been like such a big thing. And I really think that functions like for any business. It's important for any business.
Well, the suppliers need us and we need them.
Exactly.
So we have to work together.
Yeah. Can you talk, I know any of the times that we've touched base, you've kind of said, oh, I'm going on this, like, I'm going on a vacation to scope it out. So can you talk about some of kind of those like networking events that they like bring you guys together so that you can see, what you're trying to sell? So
those are called FAM trips, which is short for familiarization. And so suppliers will invite you, or you are invited to apply and be selected. And then essentially it could be a cruise line, could be a hotel, it could be a chain, or it could be an air. For example, I did one where it was an airline and they took us to multiple different properties from multiple different chains. So it makes me laugh sometimes because people are like, oh, it must be nice. Must be nice.
Yeah.
But what they don't see is that I'm not in the pool or in the ocean. I am walking, seeing all the different room categories, seeing the dining options, the entertainment options, seeing the spa, the fitness facilities, learning about all the different ways that certain properties can accommodate certain sizes of families, or, for example, Beaches properties now are autism certified. So like it's all those little, Cool. So it's all those little things that people aren't seeing, and you usually by the end of the night, and then you usually have a dinner with a supplier or whatever, and by the end of the night you drop into your bed absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it's a great opportunity for me because I get to see a lot of product, and then I know, okay, this is a property that, for example, the property I sent you guys to, I knew it was going to be your jam. I knew what you guys liked. I knew it was going to hit the marks.
Right.
And so I felt confident suggesting it to you.
Yeah.
And I just had a client who was at another property, and I just knew it had the touches that she was going to love. So by day 2, she called me and said, I'm taking my whole family here next year. Aww. When we get home, she's like, I'm touching base with you. The kids are already started the passport applications, and we're booking it. And we're coming back. We loved it that much. So
cool.
Yeah. So those trips are great opportunities to see the product, experience it firsthand, and then I take the knowledge back, and then that's what I base, what I'm selling to who.
Yeah, I think that's so much more hands-on, right? Having like experience with that place. I was I'm imagining everyone's like, you're so lucky, and really it's like those timeshares, where they get you in for the appointment, they just run you around everywhere.
No, but fortunately it's not like that. Okay. But they're quite good to us. But it's very much like you are expected to work. Like you cannot bring your spouse or kids.
Okay.
It's you. Sometimes you have to share a room with a complete stranger, some other travel agent. So.
Wow.
Yeah, like there's perks, but if you're an introvert and you don't want to share your space, you're sharing a room with a complete stranger.
Oh my gosh.
But it's all again, it's about the networking, bringing the knowledge back. And it's also sometimes it's tough. You're away from home.
I was just gonna say that I think that again that comes back to like your partner being so supportive of like, I didn't realize that he wasn't allowed to come.
Yeah, no, because they want you to work.
They want you to be. They don't want you to be distracted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And is your spouse really going to want to walk around and see 30 different room categories and 5 dining experiences? No, they're going to want to be in the pool, and then you're going to want to be in the pool with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Does it ever happen that they do get to come?
Very, 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 very rarely.
Okay.
Like sometimes there'll be, if they want you to come out, there might be an opportunity, but honestly, no.
Yeah, they want you to work. It makes sense, and they're inviting you there so that you're promoting them on the other side, right? Yeah.
And there's really no free time. So honestly, if the roles were reversed, I wouldn't want to accompany him because I'd be by myself the whole time.
Right.
You won't see each other.
Yeah.
So it's kind of pointless. And it really, you're being given a great opportunity to learn. You need to be there learning.
Yeah.
And not taking a spot away from someone else who would want that opportunity to learn.
Right. I was thinking, like, how do you qualify for it? Are they like, we want to see your numbers from last year?
Sometimes they do it based like the brand managers will look and see if you're actively selling the product. Like if I'm not, I have applied for ones where it's a product that I don't have a lot of knowledge about and I want to learn and sell more. But yeah, they'll look at your sales, or they'll ask you, what are you going to do to actively market this when you get home? Like they want, you have to have a plan in place. And sometimes it's again, relationship building. Like the brand manager might say, hey, I know she would be a good person to promote or sell or experience this opportunity.
Yeah. Cool. I think it's cool that you get to like work as an industry where you're, you are your own business, I think it's really cool to be like, you're an ambassador. That's the word I was looking for. So I think it's fun to like be able to be an ambassador like that in those scenarios and like be, networking like that. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Love it. So I wanted to talk about just kind of how you built the agency. So I guess, obviously you were, taking on by someone or you were under Tico, but how does that look in terms of like starting a travel business from scratch?
Really, I'm not starting from scratch because I'm still working under the same host agency. I'm just branching out into my own brand.
Yeah.
And my client list is my client list. I've developed it.
I guess that's what I meant is like, how do you start that client list?
Well, I keep my client list.
Yeah.
They're my clients. So
how did you get them to begin with?
Honestly, it really started out like friends and family. And I did travel a lot before I ever became an agent.
Totally.
So people would always, they'd see my posts and ask me about, recommendations of where I went and things like that. So it just kind of seemed like a natural fit.
Transition.
But so, it started out with family and friends, but then it turned into referrals, honestly. And I mean, I had a nice area to draw from. So I'm from Niagara originally. I was a teacher, so I have the education community. I played a lot of sports, so I have sport community, family and friends. And then I got married and moved to Selkirk, Ontario, which is by Port Dover. Most people don't know where it is.
What do you mean? Port Dover's the...
Yeah, Friday the 13th. But most people don't know where it is. But because my husband has lived there his whole life, then I started to get introduced to people in the community. And then honestly, it's all been for me largely word of mouth.
That's amazing.
But some of it is social media too.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna get to. Yeah, my next question was just like how are you able to like leverage now that there is so much surrounding social media and there's so much involvement in social media? How do you leverage that to build clients? I
have to be honest. I have to get my goal. I did some really inspiring sessions at the Travel Agent Next Door conference where we learned we had some great speakers and they brought some really useful tips and knowledge and that I really am hoping to develop. Yeah. Right now I do Facebook. I have my own personal page, but my business page, and I do Instagram. Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes it's just the people seeing the pictures and hearing the experiences, and then it just jogs something. I'd like to try that place, or tell me more about this, and then I also use it to, if a great deal comes up or a special or I'll post that on my social media just to generate interest.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. I was thinking like I find that there's this big thing through social media, like I mentioned before, living vicariously, right? So like people get that FOMO where they're like, oh my God, I want to go there. So I think it's, we're at such a good time where, really it can just be like documenting your own experience.
It's, point of view.
is being such a great marketing tool.
Yeah, it is. And that generally is what's driving the reels and the videos and things like that people are seeing.
Right. Yeah. They're seeing like cool vacations and they're like, I want to go on vacation. Do you find that people like see it and they're like, I want to go on that vacation that you posted?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Certain resorts, sometimes there'll be something about it that will be like, that's the one.
Yeah.
And then other times it'll be people message me and say, hey, what do you recommend? And then I'll ask qualifying questions to see what their true interests are. I mean, I've seen lots of places. I can just throw you somewhere, but if I haven't done the work to make sure it's something that's going to be a good fit, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah. And so that's what I wanted to get into next, is just kind of how you're able to like set those, to match a person with a place, right? Like how can you, find out what people are into and then be able to like, match them with a location that works for them.
It's just asking questions. First of all, getting to know them first a little bit instead of just hammering right out of the gate. Well, what's your budget? You know what I mean? Like talk to them a little bit.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a multi-gen trip? Okay, so then we need something that's maybe accessible for grandma and grandpa, but it's got a kids club for the younger kids and maybe a teens club for the teenagers. And can they all dine together? And you know what I mean? Just are they beach people? Are they pool people? Are they active? Do they want excursions? Because if I put you in a resort that's far away that has no excursions and the kids are driving you nuts after day 3, that's not a vacation.
Right.
It might be a vacation for the kids, but it's no longer a vacation for anyone else. Right. So are they cruisers? Or, are they loyal to a brand, or are they willing to try new things? Just asking the right questions and just pulling it out of them and then putting the options down and then talking through them.
So hard.
Yeah, it can be. So some clients that you can nail it right away, and some you just got to pull a little bit more.
Yeah. I just am like, I'm just imagining just this giant spreadsheet, from wall to wall of like all the places that you can go and all the things you can do. And like,
no, my spreadsheet's up here.
Holy crap. That's so hard. Do you use like AI tools?
A little bit. I do.
Like,
I'm just starting.
I'm
starting to dabble in it a little bit. Yeah, it can be useful for certain things for sure.
Yeah, I've heard of people using it as like, so in the dance world, it might be like, let's say costumes, for example.
Yeah,
they'll have like all the different costumes, costume companies, which would be like relative to like travel companies, and then all their different offerings, and then being able to kind of like plug in the prompts to like get them to like spit out an answer. It would be similar to that.
Yeah.
Be like, they need 5 pools and 6 margarita bars.
No, I don't. I actually don't use AI for that.
Okay.
I use it. Well, I do. I use it for like sometimes fun social media prompts. Like when I did my out of office, I had them generate kind of like a cartoon picture of like the cruise ship I was going to be on, of like a person with dark curly hair from the back, and then I use like my out of office, and like it's cute, it's catchy.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like an image generator.
Yeah. I use the image generator quite a bit, or when I find like, for example, they made it, well, it's been around for a while, but when you're a Canadian visiting abroad, you can register so that the government, if say there is a tragedy or something, then you are registered. So I made an image and I attach it to all my travelers that are going overseas so that they know if they want to, they have the option to register.
Oh.
Yeah. So just little things like just tools, right?
Yeah. No, I was picturing it as like, Sally wants, this vacation. Like,
no.
Damn. Oh, it's just so, I'm trying to make your job easier.
Maybe I'll try it when I get home.
Exactly. I just picture like a giant database where you can kind of like plug in people's like requirements.
But I don't, I'm hesitant. I would rather rely on my knowledge, my experiences.
For sure.
Than just type it in and wish.
Yeah, definitely.
Wish. Well, I guess we're going to get into it more, but like kind of, I think that is the difference between, you and something that's online that is like just an AI device, right? Is that you have that personal experience and that understanding of the clients that you're working with. And I think that is really what makes any business successful, but you specifically are seeing so much growth in your business because you are able to make those connections with people and like make sure that you're really thinking about all the details.
Yeah.
And that's really important
a lot
to
of
them.
it too is just providing that customer service experience too.
Yeah.
I check in before, I check in after, I send a thank you card after, I send a Christmas card. Those are little things that a lot of people don't do anymore. Like, and I just feel like it's a personal touch and people appreciate it. So
we're trying to do a postcard newsletter for the podcast. I know, same thing. I'm like, people don't, I think like it was so heavy in the past and now we've gone all to the digital.
Yeah.
So like our emails are just like, you know, we're just so desensitized.
Yeah.
How many emails on any given day does somebody have in their inbox that they haven't opened, you know?
Well, that's it. Everyone loves, I don't care what anyone says.
Everyone loves getting snail mail. 100%.
Because it's not, because you're getting something that's not a bill.
Exactly.
Right? You're not getting bad news in the mail. You're getting good news.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we kind of have this idea of doing like a two-sided like postcard. And I think it's great. I think people love getting like, fun mail, right?
Yeah,
it's wild. It used to be like, you know, there was this time period I felt like when we were kids, we were getting so much mail, and now we get nothing.
I know. That's why I'm like
I always
a little
look at
treat.
the mailbox. I'm like, nothing again.
I'll send you a postcard.
Yay! Love it. I was curious what you consider your biggest business win thus far.
Just the fact that I have so many loyal repeat clients, like they come back time and time again, and then they refer me. Like, to me, that's the greatest compliment. Like, if you think I've done a good enough job that you feel comfortable and confident enough to say, hey, send my grandma on a trip, or hey, I've got a girls trip, or plan my wedding. You know what I mean? Those things, like, that means a lot to me. That means that you trust me, you feel comfortable with the service that I'm providing, and
coming back. Yeah. I think too that also brings up a really good point. And I think in any business, it's really scary at the beginning.
Yeah.
Even just like our Airbnb, I was thinking about this. I'm like, now we have people that it's their annual trip and they're coming here, right? We travel in the summer, we get in our camper and we leave, and we Airbnb the house out. And so, I think it's, just having that repeat client is such like an emotional win, but I also feel like it makes your business predictable.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get these clients in this specific amount of time, and it makes like your job a lot easier when you have something to bank off of, right? They already went here, they loved it. This is very similar. It's a similar budget. It's, but it's a different country, so you're going to get to try this. So I think it ends up like making you almost better at your job too.
Yeah. And I like what you said about predictable, because I don't think a lot of people realize most travel agents don't work on salary. We work strictly on commission. So I don't get paid until the travel is completed.
Right.
So, it's hard sometimes to plan, to budget, to organize, and in the summertime, people aren't really thinking about travel. So, you have to, although with everything that's going on in the world right now, Canada has had a huge upsurge in summer travel, which is great. Great for the country, great for the travel industry. But so you have to.
You mean people coming here or people traveling in the summer?
Traveling in the summer to Canada. Like I've planned to. I can't tell you how many out to Banff this summer and quite a bit out to the Maritimes this summer.
So cool.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It also makes me curious because we're also hearing, people are in recession and can't afford groceries.
You know what I think? So, you've excellent point. But I feel like the people who have the means to travel are absolutely traveling. I
100%.
think post-COVID, I think people got locked down and then they just realized, God, there's a big world out there and I haven't seen much of it. And so the people that can't afford to are absolutely paying to travel.
Yeah. And I'm the person who's like, I'm like nickel and diming it at the grocery store. I'm like, we don't need 4 apples. We're going to share them this week. We'll have 2 apples, then we'll go on vacation in January.
But you're still planning vacation.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
just finding a way to make it happen. And that's the thing too. People are finding a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm having more and more people who used to book last minute. There really are no last minute deals, honestly, especially in this time and era. But what I'm finding is people are getting smarter and booking farther out in advance.
Yeah.
So they have time to pay it off. And generally the price point is lower. The farther out, the closer you get to the travel time, the price is going up, up, up. And then there's these people that all of a sudden, like, this has been a long, gray, cold winter and spring. Ugh. And people would be like, I've had enough. And then they'd message me. And then unfortunately, it's just the price point. They can't make it work. Yeah. And I always feel bad about that. I mean, it's not my fault that the prices are the way they are. No. But, you want to deliver that dream for them. And it's just not lining up.
Yeah.
So that's when I coach clients. I'm like, listen, like if this is how you're going to feel next winter,
start planning in October.
Yeah, let's talk now. Let's start planning. You only have to put a deposit down. Make sure you get insurance, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think so. What do you have like a number that's like the sweet spot? Because I found we've done a ton of traveling, and I find like it's like 6 months is still more expensive, or maybe like 8 months is still more expensive, and then there's
honestly, with the way this year has been, you can't predict anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Crazy. Yeah, I always just find like 4 to 6 months is like the sweet spot. Like I've tried to book earlier than that, and it ends up more expensive.
Not always. It
No?
just
Okay, it just
but again,
depends.
it just depends on what's going on, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And the time of year, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Christmas, Easter, March break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was crazy after the thing in Puerto Vallarta. All of a sudden I heard about a bunch of people going there. They're like, it's so cheap, so we're just gonna go. And
Yeah,
it's
and
funny.
really it was in a small area and it didn't last long. But I think
Yeah.
people get fearful, right?
Yep.
And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
okay, but
And then
you
they
know,
need
you
the
have
people
to-
back to build up the confidence again.
yes, that's exactly what
Yeah.
it is. And they're a tourist industry too, right? They have people that are counting on them for jobs and
yeah.
tourism dollars in the community. So yeah, it was the same after the hurricane in Jamaica. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
A lot of resorts were closed down for a long time, and Jamaica really wanted to bring the people back and show them, hey, it's okay to come back.
Yeah. How are they doing?
They've bounced back really nicely. A majority of the properties that were badly hit are open or reopening very soon, and yes, and the Jamaican people
I want to go
are.
so bad.
Yeah, I was there in December.
Oh, yeah?
With a couple of kids. There was quite a bit of damage, but
Yeah.
they were working really quickly and really hard because again they rely so strongly on the tourist dollar.
Totally.
And they really wanted the people to come back. They wanted, they want us there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been there before, but I feel like it's one of those places where people just rant and rave about the population and the culture and the community that's there.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it even more, intense because when it's a group of people, when it's a whole entire country that is that way, that is so like open-hearted and sweet, it just makes it more empathetic where you're like, we want to go back because we want to support you guys, we want to like be there.
Yeah, a lot of sometimes in the airport they'll say welcome home when you come there.
That's so
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I want to go there so bad. I wanted to know on the flip side, have you had anything over the years I guess we talked a little bit about it, but setbacks. Do you want to talk anything more specific? I know this year Cuba ended up being off limits.
Cuba was a tough one because a lot of people, so as we know, Canadians and people from overseas are the only tourists that are allowed to go to Cuba.
How come?
American politics.
Okay. Yeah.
Without getting,
Yeah, I remember asking when we were there.
Yeah.
but-
So,
So it's been a long time that Americans have not been able to go there.
well, there was a small window when they could. Like, a lot of stuff has happened. It depends on the government that has been in power at the time.
Okay.
We won't get into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another podcast.
Yeah. So that one was a hard one because a lot of people who love Cuba, they love Cuba because it's cheap and cheerful, but they also love it because the people are amazing there and like just amazing. Like literally will welcome you into their home and cook you a meal.
Yeah.
The beaches are stunning.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were really counting on going and then they couldn't. And then to try to pivot and match their previous budget,
Nothing.
couldn't do it for most of them.
Yeah.
So they either had to, postpone or take a refund. And most people were pretty understanding, but I had one client who was pretty irate
Yeah.
and blamed me because she wanted a refund immediately. And unfortunately, terms and conditions. And I explained to her, I said, the airline has thousands of people they need to refund. They're going to go through the process. And, and that she didn't find that acceptable. And so she said I clearly didn't care about my clients and said some things about possibly posting some negative things on social media about me and my business. I don't think she ever did, but yeah. So that was hard because I feel bad. I know how hard people work for their money. I want to be able to deliver, but sometimes things are out of our control. We can't do anything about it. So she wanted me, she was on one airline that had already made the announcement that they weren't flying. And another airline was still promoting that they were flying, but I knew that
It was coming.
they're all going to follow suit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she demanded that I get her money back and put her on the other airline. And I said, she said, I called the airline and they said if they got us there, they would have to get us home. I said, yeah, but if there's no fuel, 2 months later,
Are you good to stay there?
Are you good with that?
Are you Cuban now?
And she's like, well, they promised. And I'm like, okay, they promised, but they didn't say when.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
So
insane.
it's hard sometimes when that happens because I get it, but I get why people they're emotionally invested. They want to go. And
sure.
And for this poor woman, her trip was in 2 days.
Yeah.
So she had taken the time off work They were
Already lost 10 pounds.
ready
Bag
to
was
go.
packed.
Yeah, bags are packed. So I get it.
Yeah.
But it was,
What are you
like I
gonna
said,
do?
it's out of your control. So you just try to,
Yeah.
reassure them, help them as best you can. And like I said, the majority of my clients were super understanding. Like I tried.
It's all over the news.
Yeah.
Like it's not like like you said, it was out of your control.
Yeah.
Are they back going to Cuba?
No.
No.
No, they can't even get power, I think.
No.
Still.
Yeah, with the blackouts, it's I feel for the Cuban people deeply.
Oh, definitely.
Deeply.
Devastating.
Yeah, it is not good.
Ugh.
And they rely, I think it's 90% of their economy is tourism.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, think about it. It's so isolating, right? You're on an island. Like, how can you produce? It's small. It's so small.
Yeah.
Like, they can't have a lot of their, like, what are they going to export?
Yeah. So it's unfortunate. Hopefully things change soon, but it's going to be hard for them to recover.
Definitely.
Very hard.
Yeah. I mean, we heard the struggle after COVID.
Yes.
A couple of our family members had gone and like it was already struggling then because of the years of COVID.
And they were they were still struggling. Well, and it was funny because then with the current political situation, there was kind of like a boom.
Yeah.
People started like showing like a surging interest in going back to Cuba, and then it happened. So yeah.
We just grazed on it, but I would love to talk about the complaints and frustrations with online booking systems.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. Burn it down.
So it's hard because I used to do it myself too. Unfortunately, I never ever
used it.
Before I became a travel agent, I used to book my own travel online. Yeah.
Right.
And I think I just got lucky for the most part. And not to say you can't book a trip and it won't be successful.
Well, there are organizations that are, like there's like your airline. They have a website. You can book your flights there. There's, there is a lot of organizations. There's a lot of online stuff where like it's still going to the organization, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of things people don't realize. Like you make one little mistake in the spelling of your name, you're not getting on the plane.
Yeah.
There's some websites out there that look like they're wholesalers or discounts, but it's not always live inventory. So by the time you get to the back page, it's the same price as what I was going to quote you anyway.
Right.
And the biggest thing about booking online is if you're booking, for example, an all-inclusive trip, commission for the travel agent is already built into the package. So if you book it yourself, which is fine, you're putting more money in the big business pocket and you've paid for service you're not using.
Right.
You don't. If your bags get lost, you're looking for them.
Yeah.
If you have a family of 4 and you get a room with 1 bed, you're going down to management and trying to solve it. Like all of those little things, those components. If you have a flight delay or your flight cancellation, missed a flight, all of those things.
Connecting stuff.
So
all that,
why wouldn't you, if you've paid for the service, why wouldn't you use it?
Right.
Is my mindset.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest like misconception that people have is that they're just like it's on top of instead of built into. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, people need to realize, I think they only need to have like, one horrible experience to realize like, I saved up all my money. I saved up all my time. I did this beautiful thing for my family and I wasted 2 days because I was trying to argue with someone about something that wasn't right. Yeah. So I think
absolutely.
Just
and that's
having
where also the relationships that I build with my suppliers come in. If something isn't right, I have a relationship with someone that I can contact and say, hey, listen, my client's here. This is what's happened.
Yeah.
Can you help me out? Can you put me in touch with someone who can assist and let's get this problem worked out. Right.
Yeah, you have someone in your corner. You have like a liaison. I think that's like important. We had the most recent trip we did was just like we rented a car and like drove around the country. And yeah, one of the issues was that the company that I think you made a good point with like it being like a live vacation or a live trip. So a lot of times, and I was trying to understand this when it happened, but they booked it. It was in their name. It wasn't in my name. So we went with our passports and they're like, these tickets aren't for you. Yeah. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, like they're your travel agent, which is like a chat bot, that bought our tickets for us. They're like, well, it doesn't match your name. These aren't your flights. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's just so much, also we didn't get on the flight. I was like,
Yeah.
this is what happens when you don't book through Lorna. Jake's passport was expired.
Oh.
Well, no, it wasn't expired. It expired in 2 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and you have to...
2 months after I would have got back, it was expired.
Yeah.
So
So
great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know.
in my invoices and stuff, I make note.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
make sure
passport
it's
is-
6 months.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. So yeah, just all the things, right? I mean, that's why you get a second set of eyes and they're professional and they know what they're doing. So
Yeah,
I think
when
like,
some countries have entry requirements, some have customs forms that you have to fill in advance. So if you don't know these things and you show up, then everyone else is getting on the shuttle bus and you're in there trying to frantically fill out paperwork, and maybe it's in a language
another
that
language.
you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's so many, you hear so many stories, right? Where people are like, oh,
Or
no.
sometimes you're staying till Saturday, but you only booked a place till Friday. Or...
Are you saying I did that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've done it all. I'm like, I'm a travel agent. No, definitely not. It was a mistake. All right. So yeah, the last section that I wanted to talk about is your own personal experience. Like I said, it's so awesome seeing your social media and living vicariously. So I was curious for our listeners out there that are interested in travel. I was curious about some of the destinations that you would recommend and some of your favorite places.
So I like to do like adventure travel as well as the rest and relaxation component. This year I recommend going everywhere.
Everywhere.
Go everywhere.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
Go as many places as you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, like go where in what's your comfort zone and what you want to see or
Yeah,
do, obviously.
sure.
But like the world is an amazing place.
I
Like, why
know.
wouldn't you want to get out there and see it?
Yeah.
I know sometimes there's financial limitations or whatever, not and
100%.
work obligations and kids and everything. But yeah, if you have the opportunity. So yeah, Cape Town, South Africa blew me away. I think people have a big misconception of
Africa
danger.
in general.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure we do.
Yeah.
We loved it so much. My husband was looking at real estate.
Come on.
I swear
that
to God.
happens to us everywhere we go.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, it's so cheap. Why don't we
Yeah.
live here?
but it was just beautiful. I mean, we did
That's
the
cool.
safari, which was the whole goal of the trip. But then
Oh my
Cape
gosh,
Town was the back
amazing.
end, and we loved Cape Town.
Wow.
We were just in Peru, and you guys were also in Peru, so that was an amazing experience in itself.
Yeah.
Scotland surprised me. I wanted to go to Scotland, but I was surprised at how much I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was.
You don't hear a lot about, I think,
Yeah,
because
it's more than just sheep and fields.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of rolling
And
hills. That's what you hear about it,
but
right?
it was beautiful there. Like
Yeah.
just absolutely, and so many people were just like hiking.
Yeah.
everywhere. It was
Have you
amazing.
been to like the Maritimes?
I have, but not in recent years.
Okay.
So way back when, and another job where I was wearing a different hat, kind of thing. But
Yeah, we went to New Brunswick, and I remember thinking like, "Oh my gosh, this looks like Scotland." Like you see
Yeah.
the same type of like video and footage of just like in New Brunswick.
well, our
Big
plan
rolling
is
grass.
Yeah, our plan is once my husband does retire, we have a camper. So our plan is to go from coast to coast.
Nice.
But
Amazing.
that's down the road.
Yeah.
We almost did it.
We did?
Well, we did BC to here, and then we did here
to New Brunswick.
We
Yeah.
didn't make it to Newfoundland.
Yeah, we want to go to Newfoundland.
Yeah, for sure.
It's such a hard go because I feel like I don't want to do the trip to Newfoundland but I want to have the camper in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Like, can I just pick up a camper in like New Brunswick and then
I'm sure you
drive it
could.
to and then
You can
drive it
rent
on the
RVs, yeah.
Yeah,
drive
absolutely.
it on the ferry? Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. That's
Absolutely.
fun. I never even thought of that kind of traveling.
Yeah.
Doing just like do you book that for people?
Yeah.
Just like driving travel?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I had never thought of that. I just
Absolutely.
assumed it was
I
on
book-
an
I book
airplane.
it all.
Yeah, that's fun.
Rail has been a big component this year too.
What?
Rail travel.
Oh,
yeah.
Train.
yeah.
They're
You were just
opening up a
talking
lot
off
of new
air.
train lines. Is that for recreation as well?
To be honest, I'm not sure about that, but I just know that people are looking at alternatives, and especially
Right.
like I mentioned, Canada's on the upswing for travel, so people are looking at different options instead of driving themselves. Why not take the train and take in all the scenery and then get to a destination and explore what's in destination.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think we're gonna see it more and more because the air travel is getting so much more expensive.
Yes. Yeah, people are looking for alternatives, and some people just don't want to. I mean, it's hard. I like self-drive tours, but it's also sometimes whoever's doing the driving is really focused on the driving. So only one person's really getting the experience, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're swapping off frequently and then, you fight.
Yeah. Jacob does all the driving. I'd be scared we're going to die. I'm not a good driver or navigator, so I'm really just out the window.
So train travel sounds like a plan for you.
Yeah. Did you guys do the train from Ollantaytambo to Machu Picchu?
Yes.
Yeah, so
I
cool.
did the panoramic one and it was amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
cool.
cool,
Yeah,
eh?
and I was telling Jacob I'm about to do a train trip. I leave Sunday
Oh, nice.
with Rocky Mountaineer
Oh, yeah.
from Vancouver to Banff, and I cannot wait, but my husband wants to kill me because he can't come.
Yeah, that's
But
such
again,
a
what a
good
great
trip.
way to see our own beautiful country.
That's
right?
gonna be
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know that we had that. That's so cool.
yeah.
We did that trip, but we didn't.
Driving it, yeah.
We drove
Drove,
it. Yeah, we
yeah.
didn't do it in a
Icefields
in a
Parkway
train.
or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Banff is amazing. Have you
Yeah.
been there?
Nope, this is gonna be my first time, so I'm
it's
so excited.
Amazing. We really liked Canmore too. That was like right outside of Banff,
Ju-
right?
Yeah, just south of Thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the most recent trip I booked for some people that way, they're hitting Canmore, Banff, bopping around a little bit.
Yeah, it's a cool part of our country. Favorite place in the Caribbean?
Ooh. You're not asking me to name an actual resort, or you're asking me to name an island, right?
You can do whatever. Whatever you want.
So the conference that I was just on, we did the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao,
Okay.
and I loved Bonaire.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you can rent a golf cart and boot around the island in about an hour and a half.
So fun.
There's flamingos everywhere. It's amazing for diving if you're a diver.
Curacao, is that where the blue stuff comes from? The
Yes.
liquor?
Yeah. So I had some of that.
What do you mean? What's the blue stuff?
The drink.
Yeah.
If the blue, they call
I
them
think
blue
people
wines or
call it
something.
Caraco.
Oh,
Yeah.
Blue Croco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's from there.
Come on.
Yeah, but
Wow.
on Bonaire, like I said, it was great because we were in these golf carts. There's flamingos. There's wild donkeys just trotting along beside your golf cart, and we would just make pit stops at these beach clubs and stop in for a drink or a swim. It was fantastic.
So fun.
And it was and they had these beautiful salt flats. So the water in the salt flats was pink,
Wow.
and then it was stunning.
Cool. Yeah, I've never heard of that place. Have you been to Puerto Rico?
I have, because
Okay.
the cruise that I took in February docked at a port. Like, that was the port. Like, or not the port. That's where we came in and out of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I was thinking of that. We went to, there was an island with wild horses.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Sable Island. Are you talking about our
Golf
east?
cart.
No, it was Vieques.
Oh,
Vieques? Yeah, it was in
on the
Puerto
east side
Rico.
of Puerto Rico. They
Oh,
got
okay.
2 little islands. So we ended up going to both of those and doing the ferry trips and checking
Fun.
out these little islands.
Yeah, wild horses.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
both
It was
really
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, the story was that they, the like army was there, right? Because it was like
Oh,
the
okay.
naval.
Yep.
Or not naval.
Well,
Why would you have tanks? Yeah, naval, right?
well, no, like
Well,
there
it
was like a naval base.
San Juan was like a fortress. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. And what's the capital city? San Juan.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, they were there as like an army, and they had all their horses and then left, and the horses just did it.
Well, there you go.
I know, it's so crazy when you see like wildlife like that. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I was thinking about places that are underrated.
Canada.
Yeah?
Canada.
Come on.
We live in one of the most beautiful places and so diverse from coast to coast.
So
Yeah,
big.
it's
I mean,
true.
really, honestly. But yeah, I mentioned some of the places I've been, like, for example, Scotland. Like, a lot of people think Ireland and they don't necessarily think Scotland.
Yeah.
And, like, Scotland was amazing. There's so many places, like, it's just like a laundry list. It goes on forever.
Yeah.
Have you done any of like the Arctic Canada stuff?
No, but that's on my wish list.
Oh.
My bucket list is about a mile long.
Freeze your
Yeah.
butt off.
No, I want to do like an Arctic expedition for
Wow. That's crazy.
sure. Yeah.
Why do you think people are like that, where they either have like, adventure interest or just like chilling interest?
I just think people are complex and different. Like, for
Yeah.
example, some people like to go to a trailer park in Florida and they're happy and comfortable and content with that. Some people don't
Yeah.
want to get out of their box and they don't have to.
Right.
That's their zone.
Yeah.
Like, who am I to tell someone else what they should be comfortable with?
Yeah.
And some people are just naturally curious and inquisitive. Some people want to get out. Like my husband, for example, we can go to an all-inclusive. I can lay in the sun and relax and read a book all day long, but every other day we have to do something because he gets restless and stir crazy, and and he also, like myself as well, though, we like to see where the locals eat, like in Peru.
Yep.
In Peru, everyone's like telling me he had to eat a guinea pig.
Yeah. Did you?
So he ate a guinea pig. I didn't eat a guinea pig, but he ate a guinea pig.
We thought we were going to, and we didn't.
Yeah, he ate guinea pig and he ate llama.
We ate llama.
Yeah, I did not.
Right? Yeah, we had a llama steak.
Yeah,
I think it would almost.
I feel like it's just like a goat.
Well, yeah, but it's
like
I would need a goat either.
Okay.
I'm not that adventurous.
You're not vegetarian.
No.
No, okay.
No.
Just cows, pigs, chickens.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hilarious. Did you find the food good in Peru?
Yeah, it was hit and miss depending on where we were at, right?
Yeah,
it was hit and miss, and unfortunately, I got sick.
Oh.
So I eat fairly conservatively, and I got sick, and my husband's eating guinea pigs and alpacas, and he's right as rain. So it's just the way it happens sometimes.
We
right?
were in a lot of small places too. Like in Cusco, there was good food, but the traditional, some of it was
we stopped at one place and we got soup. Because he brought a little sample, because there was a language barrier and we were trying, and I know sopa means soup, so so he brought a little bowl out for me to try, and I was like, oh yeah, it was good. But then he brought out, it looked like 2 buckets of soup, and I'm like, I can't eat all of that soup, and like, what am I doing with it? I can't. It's not like you can wrap it up and bring it with you. So and that's the big part about travel too, is that you got to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to try new things. And I try to tell people, because sometimes people get their expectations are so high, and all of my best travel stories are when things went wrong.
Yeah. It makes you resilient,
but not even resilient. It makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Like on Machu Picchu, there was a mama llama and a baby llama, and they came running through, and the guide's like, yeah, don't worry, just stand there. And then the baby llama starts doing that side jump like goats do, and almost knocked me off of Machu Picchu. And I'm like, what just happened? Fortunately, someone was behind me and grabbed me. I was like, oh my God.
Gosh.
And my husband got headbutted by an alpaca at a textile farm because he was paying attention to the presenter.
Guide,
and the alpaca came up and went and hit him in the head.
Man. We got way too close to them, and
a couple times I was like, all right, they have their boundaries. I got so comfortable because we were there for a month.
Get kicked. You're all over them.
I was just like hugging them. The kids were trying to get up on top of them. I
don't know. Llamas and alpacas kind of scare me. You got kicked by a horse or
kicked by a horse.
Yeah. I almost had my bum bit by a camel.
Yeah, it's wild how obsessed humans are with animals.
Yeah. Well, my camel, Camuel L. Jackson.
Oh my God.
It's getting a little close to Humphrey behind me. So Humphrey was trying to give a message, but it was trying to bite my bum instead of Camuel L. Jackson's bum.
Was that in the safari? No,
that was in Cabos.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Like Cabos, Mexico?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were there.
There's camels there?
They have like a camel, it's almost like a sanctuary. And it's got awards for how well they treat their camels.
That's wild.
Yeah. Cool.
The last time we were in Mexico, in Cancun, there was all kinds of like imagery of elephants. Do we know if there's elephants in Mexico?
I've never seen one.
Okay. That's what I thought.
The nice thing about Mexico is now they're banning like dolphin swims and things like that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they've gotten on board. So that's going to the wayside, which is, I think, a positive thing.
Totally. I think it stresses the animals out so much.
The turtle restoration and stuff like
that too. Yes, a lot of the resorts have
cool
turtle nesting sites. And,
Mexico? Yeah, that was amazing. All like the turtle reserve stuff.
Yeah.
We also did a whale watching.
Yeah. I swam with whale sharks.
Whoa, that'd be crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Like something the size of a school bus and beside you. It's incredible.
That's so nuts. They're nice though, right? Like they're not aggressive.
Not at all. In fact, they have sensors, so we give off too much heat, so they will automatically close their mouth and turn away from us because they don't want us. They just want like the plankton and the krill.
Yeah. It's amazing. That's crazy. That was in Mexico?
Yep.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, there's so much cool stuff. I feel like I could spend more time in Mexico.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mexico's so big too.
Yeah, it's so big, and I think it's it's such a different. I mean, obviously there's like the coastal experiences, but I feel like it's so different than when you go to Caribbean islands because it's just so small. Like Mexico's just like
There's so much
like
culture. There's so many different areas, right? There's so many different things to see.
Yeah. Cool. All right, do we want to take a break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back.
Welcome back. We are talking to my beautiful friend Lorna Lane today. She's an incredible travel agent. Just opened her own, has been a travel agent, but just opened her own agency. I just wanted to mention the name. It's Memory Lane Travels. And we're going to talk about the handles at the end of the show, and we'll definitely add it to the show notes. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this has been awesome. It makes me really want to go on vacation. Take me with you. Okay, I just coming back, I thought we could get a little more in depth into individual and personalized trips. Just some advice for our listeners. Some of them that like to travel. I was just thinking that we could talk about some things to remember, some tips from an expert.
Okay.
So let's start with your top 10 items of things to bring on a trip.
Okay, I might have to refer to my list for this one.
All right.
But the top thing...
You've been off book the whole time.
I know,
I've
been off script and I'm like, oh God. The one thing I do always recommend, I never used to travel with it and now I won't travel without it, is insurance. I think just in our uncertain times and things like that, and it's always, and it always breaks my heart, but it's always the people that don't take it that end up needing it.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I know it's an extra expense, but in the long run, paying $110 for pre-trip cancellation insurance versus losing your whole vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's, to me, it's a no-brainer.
So you're talking about the insurance to like protect if you can't go on your trip.
I'm talking about all insurance.
Okay.
I'm talking about so if you're doing an all-inclusive, they offer pre-trip cancellation, but they don't offer, medical or anything like that.
Right.
But really, people should either have a credit card that offers it or be looking at, especially if you travel a lot, looking at a plan, because unexpected things happen.
For sure. Like especially when you're on vacation, right? You're doing things that you never would otherwise. You're eating food you've never had before. You're doing all these things that are like high risk technically, right?
Yeah. And
we get it through CAA and they're like, are you going to be paragliding? Are we doing any skydiving? I'm like, probably. Knowing me.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think insurance is a big one.
Yeah.
Another one is duplicating your documents, like having a secondary set. Because again, life happens. If you lose them, if you get pickpocketed, like anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
So it's always good to have a secondary set of documents.
You're talking about like your passport, like a photocopy,
health card, driver's license,
card.
or just have it digitally on your phone.
Yeah.
I always do
smart.
just in case, because if it gets lost,
you're screwed.
And it's going to take you a while to get your documents.
Yeah.
Well, we were.
So can you travel? It's basically you just need the number. That'll still
I take a picture of the whole
it.
to prove that this was my passport.
That is yours.
This is all
I've never needed it, knock on wood, but I did have a client who had a permanent resident card and had not realized that it had expired, and she didn't tell me before she got on the plane that the card had expired, and that they warned her that if she took the trip, there was a likelihood that she would not be able to return, and she didn't mention anything to me about it the whole week, because I could have put the wheels in motion. And
on day one
and possibly had everything ready for her by the time she left. So she went to get on the plane and they would not let her. So she had to spend an extra almost 10 days in the country with the embassy trying to get the paperwork and everything. So you want to talk about an extra expense?
Yeah, having an extra 10 days somewhere.
And then missing your flight, so you have to rebook a flight as well.
Right, which is now a last-minute flight.
Hotels, all the paperwork, the long-distance phone calls. So it's really important to be on top of your documents.
Yeah.
And also just make sure you have a copy somewhere, and just make sure you're aware of your expiry dates and things like that, because anything can happen.
Yes.
Did you hear that, Jacob?
Not trying to rub it in or anything.
Look at your dates on your passport. It's wild because I said to him too, and we booked it in like January. I was like, you should get your new passport because I want to travel in like November. And he was like, no, I still got 2 months.
Yeah, no.
It's 6 months.
Yeah.
Is
And
it 6 months everywhere now?
For the most part. So another thing that I tell people is there's a website called Sherpa, and you can type in the country you're from and where you're going, and it will list all of the requirements, anything you need.
Wow.
So that's a good website to go to too.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah.
That's so great.
And even the Government of Canada's website will tell you if there's travel advisories or health advisories for particular countries. So there's a couple of great resources out there. At the end, I'll send them to you if you want to link
I'll
them
add
in, so if people want to take a look.
Yeah.
And like I
Totally.
mentioned too, the registration of Canadians abroad too, especially with, so if a natural disaster occurs and you're in another country, then the government knows you're in that country and knows that
To look for
to look for you and get you home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Another tip I tell everyone, always bring like a drink container like this,
Yeah?
because it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're tropical or not. You can have hot drinks in it, cold drinks.
Yeah.
It's just like a good thing to have. And then if you're ever stuck, like you've got a beverage.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds silly, but it's come in handy for me. I don't know how many times.
Yeah, and most places, not Mexico, but most places have,
Water refill stations. and things like
water
that. Yeah.
refill stations at the airport, which is great.
Yeah.
We always
and it
do
just
that.
comes in, it cuts down on single-use plastics.
Yeah.
Just things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Another one I always tell, it's funny, but sunblock, like bring your sunblock, because it's always like triple the cost.
Yeah.
You get to wherever you are, and
Well,
you're
yeah.
and
we
you're
always
at the
end up
mercy.
buying it.
We were in a
outside of an
small town in
airport.
Peru, and they don't even have it.
Yeah.
They don't sell it. It was the mountain. It's sunny, but they don't need it. And
They're dark skinned. They were looking at me like, what is that? I'm
And we
like,
were we were all laughing. So I was putting sunblock on, and some people in our group did not, and they had like bad. The one gentleman had his baseball hat on backwards, so he had the half moon on his forehead, and we were laughing at him because you just don't think about it, and it's you get somewhere and they might not have it, or it might be far too expensive.
Yeah, it is really expensive. I know we've had to like come out of the airport. My kids like the spray on stuff.
Yep.
And obviously you can't travel with that. So yeah,
Well, you can in your checked bag.
We don't do check bags anymore.
If you don't do checked bags, yeah.
We like to live out of a backpack.
I try
3
not
outfits
to have a checked bag, but every time.
And no underwear.
Oh my god. And meanwhile, I'm like, I've got to have a costume change for this, a costume change for that, this many shoes. No.
I think it's different when you're like working too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like when you're working, you have to have like nice stuff, but yeah.
Well, and for me, it's like with this curly hair, the amount of product I have to carry is ridiculous.
Aw, I love your curls.
Well, my curls do not like the humidity.
Right, totally. Yeah. No, and I think you brought up a good point is like really being, especially with like all inclusives, being hyper aware of like you're on the resort, so you're at the mercy of like whatever the stores that they have there are, and they're crazy expensive. So like you're really thinking about stuff that you're not going to want to have to spend the money on, like $50 for a bottle of sunscreen and $10 for a lip balm is not great.
Yeah. Another one I tell people is just to research the country that you're going to see if you need an adapter, because a lot of times people will get there and then all of a sudden now your electronics aren't working.
Yep.
I always advise a power bank too, just because again, if your phone's not holding a charge and then all of a sudden these amazing opportunities and photos are happening in front of you and you can no longer take a picture or video, it's can be a devastating moment.
Totally. Where were we? Where those they had those little battery packs, and I have them and I carry them. It's like a tube battery.
Yep.
Because I know I see people carrying around the big square ones, but the little tubes are great. Like they're so like they're smaller.
Yep.
Yeah, and convenient. Yeah, I never thought of that, but it's true. I mean, especially when you're on, I find too, people don't realize, they think like, oh, I go through my normal day at home without going through my phone battery. But when you're on vacation, you're just using it so much more because you're having all those opportunities.
The weather too. Like
yeah,
if it's
super hot.
I find when I'm doing sometimes in the Caribbean, I'm doing those trips where I'm taking a lot of pictures and videos.
Yeah.
And then the sun is on my phone. Like I've had my phone literally go.
Yeah,
and
kill the battery
die.
so fast.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the adapter, definitely. We've had like a bunch of stuff. I think like all the kids like electronics and stuff too, you really have to check of like what power supply they need.
Yeah.
Because we've had that too, where it was like it didn't fit the right power supply of the country we were going to.
Yeah. So that's really crucial, especially if you're relying on it for, business or communication, right?
Yeah. Same thing. If you can get your hands on it, you're going to pay a
directions.
fortune. How much do we pay for the DS charger? Our kids have those like Nintendo DSs, and it was like $50 or something for the
I don't know if
converter.
This is something that you recommend, but something that I've always done when we travel now, anywhere I go, once you connect to Wi-Fi in the airport or something, I'll download like the offline map of the area. So then it's always on your phone. And then if you don't have service, you can still use that offline map
That's
somehow.
a huge tip. So when my husband and I, we were on one of the islands, and we didn't have a plan at that time that was internationally. Now I do, because just the amount of traveling I'm doing.
Yeah.
And we rented a car, and then we were like, oh crap, how are we going to figure out where we're going and how to get back? And the car rental place showed us how to put the map on. I was like, oh, it's
Thank
perfect.
God, yeah.
Because otherwise we would have been lost in a jungle somewhere. Cruise ships leaving without us.
Yeah.
So that's a good
just
one.
like working through GPS is such a gong show.
Yeah.
Do you have how do you like use your phone? We just did like the eSIM for the first time, and it was a gong show.
I don't use eSIM. I just have my phone provider just came out with a plan where I can roam like home in over 64 countries.
Wow.
So
amazing.
Yeah, so I opted into that because it just made more sense to me instead of trying to fiddle with a SIM all the time. I know some people love it. I also use WhatsApp a lot.
Yeah.
Because if I do have Wi-Fi, then I can still make the calls, the video chats, you know what I mean, send messages and things like that. So I often tell my clients, if you're somewhere and you have Wi-Fi, use WhatsApp, and then you can message me that way too.
Totally. Yeah. We just started using WhatsApp for the first time in Peru, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Works just like your phone.
Well, and a lot of the tour companies are now using WhatsApp to communicate with the tour guides and their clients. They'll make a group, and they'll message in their group, okay, the tour bus is leaving at, meet us at, and it's smart.
Yeah, because
even
it's international like that.
That little planetarium, I think, wasn't that.
Yeah, that's how they talked to us and told us.
WhatsApp.
Yeah. Did you do that at the planetarium in Cusco?
No, didn't have time.
So cool.
Our time was
cute.
a little fast.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We were
trying to get in and out of there is like so hard. Did you guys land in Lima?
We landed in Lima, and then we flew into Cusco, and then we did a couple days and then flew back. And so, but we had it was very, if I had the choice to do it again, I would have spread it out a little bit longer.
Yeah,
but my
so
husband had work. There was so much, and we didn't even get to. I feel like we only scratched. I mean, we saw the big things that we wanted to see, but I felt like there was so much more there that we could have experienced.
Oh yeah.
I know, we were there a month, and I felt like it wasn't long enough.
Yeah. And I was there for like 7 days.
Yeah, so fast. You said you got sick. Was it from the food, or you think it was from the altitude?
Oh, I think it might have been a mix of the two. Yeah. I know that a lot of people in our group were quite gassy up on Machu Picchu.
Okay. Yeah, that could have been a food thing. Yeah, it's usually more like nausea, like dizzy nausea,
I got that too, but
headache.
I took the altitude sickness pills.
Okay.
And it was affecting some of us far more than others. I just felt it felt like something was sitting on my chest. Like I felt winded.
Oh yeah.
And I just felt kind of
I'm like, I'm in great shape. What's wrong with me?
Well, and that's what my husband and a friend of ours, they were trucking ahead of us, and her husband and I were like, we'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
We were like, don't worry about us.
It's so wild that everyone we talk to has like a different experience of it. Like there's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah. So that leads into my other thing about things you should bring on trips. You should look into things like medications that you might need. And I always advise people bring you don't have to buy the trial sizes, but bring a little bit of everything. Bring some allergy medication. You might have an allergic reaction. Bring the Pepto. Bring the Imodium. You don't have to have tons of it. You don't have to have a whole suitcase as a pharmacy, but you'd be surprised at how often you're going to end up needing at least something in your little kit. And I always end up giving it to other people.
Helping everyone else. Yeah. I'm the in-house doctor.
Yeah.
I heard that there was, and I think this, again, you have to kind of check and like see what country you're going to, because I think there's a lot, like there's a misconception that people think like, oh, I'm going to go to countries and it's going to be super cheap for medications.
Yeah. Oh, no, not always.
And it's not always. And also it's like, you have to keep in mind too that you can't get your hands on all the medication.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like, some places are, but lots of places aren't, where you can't get, you need a prescription for something and then you're not able to get it. So yeah, I agree. I think bring
just
everything just in case.
Yeah, you don't have to pack heavy, but just be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just out of a backpack.
Hey, whatever floats your boat. I can't do it, but I'm not judging.
My poor kids.
Half of it's taken up by my drone.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we bring a drone too. So yeah, it's literally just a drone and 3 pairs of clothes.
We practiced with a drone and we lost 3 in Lake Erie, so we've kind of given up.
Oh no!
It was a windy day, I think, and the wind took it.
Yeah.
So we were getting the hang of it, and all of a sudden, gone. So
oh my gosh.
My husband's like, yeah, we didn't buy expensive ones, thank God, because we were like, we'll try with the cheap one first.
Yeah.
It didn't work out for us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you got to buy the insurance. Our insurance covers 4 times if it just flies away.
Oh, perfect. I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Yeah, you got to get insurance. It's like
But it is more expensive.
Yeah, it is really expensive.
Yeah. That makes sense to have insurance if it's expensive. The ones we bought, we weren't so worried.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if they all come with insurance, but yeah, this one's really expensive. So 4 times it can fly away.
Well, when we were in Cabos, my husband did this hike up this mountain. Then you can walk with dogs. There's a local dog walker, and you can walk with dogs. But he said at the top of the mountain, because it overlooks the arches, and it's like a drone graveyard. People will send their drones up there to take, like they send their drone up and then it crashes up there and they never see. So it's like it's a literal graveyard of drones.
Oh
hilarious.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other things to bring?
Let me see what I missed.
This is great.
This is a big one. Patience, tolerance, and a good attitude.
I love
because
that.
you're in a different country. You can't expect that people are going to speak your language. You need to be tolerant of customs and culture. You need to be patient with people. And I find if you have those things, your trip will go much more smoother.
Oh, definitely.
And like I mentioned before, that some of the best stories are when stuff doesn't go right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a fantastic time and everything be beautiful, but a lot of times it's you come home and you tell those other stories that's the memorable part.
Yeah. And I think you hit a really good point, which is like, people's expectations. I think, again, we all get it. We spend a lot of money on these times. We've carved out time. We made all these like arrangements. But I think like instead of, having this attitude of like people just have a chip on their shoulder, right? And they're like, because I spent this money, this should be like my dream expectation. But I think, and that just kind of goes in life.
Well, and especially too with airport employees.
Yeah.
I mean, they are
or
working
resort
under
employees.
And resort employees. Yeah. Just have some patience and some kindness. Like, I get upset sometimes when I see people mistreating people because they, if there's this sense of entitlement or even just, again, things out of control, weather delays for a plane or, things mechanical. Wouldn't you rather the plane be safe than be on your way to your vacation? I would rather be safe. So just those things that are, sometimes I think people just need to take a step back and say, is this in someone's control? If it's not, then I just need to be patient.
Yeah. It's really hard for people to just check themselves, right? It's so wild. I know. I think I guess the next thing that I wanted to talk about is kind of what you think travel has changed in you, what it's like, what it's done for you. And I think that would be my biggest thing. My biggest takeaway is that it creates that patience and tolerance with people and places and moving around. And, I think it does all those things for us. But what is it? How do you feel like it's changed you as a person being such a heavy traveler?
Just making those human connections too, and like learning about different cultures, trying different foods, So, and I think I always say to people too, try to be a traveler, not a tourist. Yeah. I think if you're going somewhere, you should leave it better than when you left it. You know what I mean? Like you don't. It always drives me crazy when I go to a beautiful monument or something sacred and people are carving their names into it, or do you know what I mean? Like it's just like, why? Yeah. And it's not.
I would go crazy.
Yeah, I know. Just like yeah, it's hard. And it's like, appreciate the beauty and the culture and the history that's there. And also appreciate that, yeah, I know you want to leave a little mark of yourself, but there's other ways to do it.
Yeah.
That, you know, volunteer or donate or helps in some way, you know, support the local community. Those are ways you can make your mark. I think those are more meaningful than scratching your name into an ancient piece of history, you know?
Yeah, we were, our last trip, actually, I do this all the time, but I always... Again, we only have a backpack usually, or a travel bag.
Yeah.
And by the end, I go home with nothing. So I just like, you know, I donate all my stuff that I brought there because I'm like, we're never going to use this again. We're going into a new season. My kids have outgrown these clothes, shoes, whatever. And I think that's like been a huge impactful thing where like we make those connections with people because like, yeah, they'll never forget us. We gave them a whole, you know, bag of months worth of clothes.
Yeah.
That is like
and
really
the host agency that hosts our brand, the Travel Agent Next Door, they have adopted a foundation called Pencils for Kids.
Amazing.
And just this year at conference, the travel agent community raised over $120,000 to build two classrooms in Niger. So, I mean, it's nice to be able to give back. I mean, we send people to these places, we go to these places, but it's also nice to have a positive impact and show that we care too.
Yeah, I think it's really, again, that goes in the, you know, in the bucket of like being understanding of like where you're going and having empathy for the fact that like, I think that it's very similar to people going and being frustrated that they don't have the food that they're used to.
Yes.
It's that same understanding of like you're in a culture that doesn't have the same things as you. They don't have the luxury of going to a Tim Hortons, right?
Yeah.
Like they have to make everything themselves. So I think it goes still in that same, you know, bucket of understanding other people's culture and learning and having that empathy towards it.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, really just like made me way more of an adventurous person because I'm like willing to do all those things and try all those things. So when you come back to your own country, that translates.
Yeah. Well, you're
your
stepping
own
out of
place.
the box. You're being a little bit more fearless and saying, oh, geez, nothing bad did happen to me. And actually, I had a fantastic time. And now I want to do more of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes you like hungry, I think, for, you know, those like out of the box experiences.
Yeah.
Even in your own country and culture.
Yeah. When I graduated from Teachers College, I did a tour. I went by myself, but it was with a tour group. And we did like something like 20 countries in 30 days in Europe. And it was the first time I ventured off by myself. And I was just like, I'm going to do this because I feel like once I start teaching and then I have a family, and what if I marry someone who has no interest whatsoever in travel? So I put myself out there and did it. And then I was just blown away by the things I saw and got to experience. And then it just, from that point, I was like, you're not going to be able to keep me home.
Yeah. I just want to do this forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's having those newfound experiences. It's so exciting. Yeah. I was just curious. I know we already talked about kind of the online thing, but can you talk to mistakes people make when they're booking their own traveling?
Yeah,
Number one, don't do it.
Yeah.
But after that, if they still are idiots.
Not idiots. They just haven't seen the light yet. No.
Yeah.
A lot of mistakes people make are they don't read the fine print.
Yeah.
So they will see something, they think it's a great deal, but then they, you know, it'll be your shuttles aren't included.
Right.
Or, you know, there's these hidden taxes or nightly resort fees, or maybe it's not all inclusive. Maybe you only get your breakfast. And so you're
maybe
not
the
budgeting.
bar closes at 5.
Yeah. Or maybe a certain, you know, or it doesn't open until a certain time.
Yeah.
You know? It's all these little.
Can't drink till 10.
But it's all those little things that if you're not reading the fine print, like I'll have people constantly send me things, often from Facebook, and it'll sound too good to be true. And then I also point out, okay, it is all inclusive, but there's no shuttles, there's no flights, and it's in American dollars. You didn't read all the little bits in the bottom. I'm like, it is too good to be true because it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they think it's a direct flight and it's not.
Right.
And then they have a huge layover, so they end up chewing up a day on each end of their trip, and so their 7-day just became a 5-day.
Yeah.
So it's just all those little things that anything can happen, right? So
yeah. And I think we're also in a time now where people are reading less and less.
Yeah, unfortunately.
There's times where I send emails out. I'm like, did you read the email?
That happened. That happens often.
It was 4 lines. They're like, no, I couldn't read
Feed
it.
it back
I'm
to me
like,
again.
Okay. I think we're going to get to a point maybe where we just use pictures. We're going to go back to hieroglyphs.
Whatever works.
I know.
Whatever works smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Just emails full of emojis. That's it. We're going to get to that point. Awesome. Any other tips for people?
Like I said, just be curious. Like if don't, it's okay to go to the same place over and over again. Maybe you've built relationships. Maybe, you like the layout, or maybe something about it works for you. But then every once in a while, try something different.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Even within, maybe I also say to people, like, even if you love to go to the same place, there's also different excursions. There's different places. Yes. Different, like, maybe there's different food on the menu you can order. Like,
or venture into town for dinner instead of staying put on the resort, right?
Yeah. I think the most motivating part is just to, start traveling if you're not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you say is the wildest trip you've ever taken?
I would have to say, I'm going to say the safari in Kruger. I couldn't believe how close the animals got. Like at one point there was a Cape buffalo, like, here's my seat, and the Cape buffalo's right here. And the guy was like, just be very still and don't look it in the eye. Because Cape buffaloes are apparently the most lethal animal, because most animals will mock charge to get you to back up.
This
Cape buffaloes do
play.
Not. They do not play.
Oh
so it's God. Like literally right there. The horns are there, and it's, and I'm like, oh my God. And we had an orange in the safari Jeep, and apparently oranges are like candy to elephants.
Oh no.
So this big bull elephant is coming towards the Jeep, and I'm like in the backseat, I've got an orange.
Like you're tattling on yourself.
Well, because I'm like, what if he flips the safari bus? Because I've got an orange.
Just
so
whip
he's like,
it out.
Yeah, he's like, no, you're not. No. Don't throw the food out of the, you'll get in big trouble for that. So I was just like, he's just like, sit very still and let him have the orange. But he didn't take it. He just kind of sniffed around, because they have very sensitive, like a very strong sense of smell. But it was like, just being that close was just, it was mine. Like I was trying to write down every time the guide said, this is that, like, right. Because there's so many different species.
Yeah.
I had a notebook full. Like I couldn't keep up with writing what kind of animal we just saw.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And we saw African painted dogs, which are predicted to go extinct very soon. And it's very rare that you see them on the safari. And we actually pulled up right next to a litter of them. So it was incredible.
Wow.
It's so fun. Yeah, I love wildlife stuff. It's so great. I feel like our last two trips, no wildlife.
Not really, no.
Yeah, where we were in Mexico, we were in Escondido.
Well, Oaxaca, we went whale watching.
Yeah. I mean, there was like ocean marine stuff, but there wasn't a lot of like...
Oh, land wildlife, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like...
we'll have to change that.
I know, yeah. Yeah, when we were in Cancun, it was amazing. The kids were like outside. I said, like, the next person after us is going to be like, why is there... It was like Ace Ventura on our patio. Like,
I know.
The kids were out there with the monkeys and the...
Someone sent me a video. Yeah, the monkeys. Someone sent a video from that same property, and there was a giant snake. Like giant that was out in the hallway. And they were like, he comes here every afternoon. He'll go away later.
You didn't see any snakes. Saw some
lizards. Big iguanas. But no, and Escondido is like right on the south, and there was like no animals.
Yeah.
So a couple lizards.
Yeah.
No. It's kind of mountains, right?
Yeah.
It's mountainous there. So maybe they're all in the mountains, not on the beach. Awesome. Where can people find you or get involved?
So I
get your help so that they don't miss their flight.
Yeah.
So I have a website that should be live shortly, because I just made the transition. So that would be memorylanetravels.ca.
Okay.
And my email, which is live, is lorna@memorylanetravels.ca.
Amazing. And we'll add all the handles in the show notes. Definitely. I'm sure you guys have heard it on the podcast that we definitely recommend booking through Lorna. She's amazing. She will give you all the support. She made our vacation unbelievable. My kids keep begging to go back.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
It's the only where they want to go. I'm like, we're going to Peru. They're like, Mexico? No. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And we will talk to you soon.
Perfect.
Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, and you'll never miss a podcast.
All right. Good night.